Many activists feel that despite a national strategic plan on gender-based violence and femicide and a presidential summit, little has changed when it comes to the scourge of gender-based violence. We're now joined by Dr. Lesley Ann Foster, who is a director and executive and founder at Masimanyane Women's Rights International. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time tonight. So, you know, one of the things that is incredibly concerning, Dr. Lesley, is that when we look at the latest crime figures, of course, we see an increase in the murders of women and an increase in the murders of children. And that figure in and of itself is perhaps most indicative of the lack of change when it comes to this violence problem that is gendered that we have in this country.
Good afternoon, Kathy, and good afternoon to viewers. Yes, I agree with you. And August month has been a bloodbath for women and children. And we've seen, as you said, the statistics are showing an uptick in that. I think we're very concerned about this because we have got several measures in place, but it's not having the effect that we would like it to have. And this, I think everybody in the country needs to be concerned about this.
Let's talk a little bit about the work that you have been doing in particular to try and get a sense of where we are, at least now, 6 months after, actually it's more than 6 months after the previous summit was held out of the presidency.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the events that Masimanyane will be hosting starting tomorrow is an accountability dialogue. And what we've done is we've asked the leadership of the province, as well as leaders from the national level, to come and give an account of how they have moved or how they have proceeded with the recommendations that have come out of the national strategic plan, out of the summit at least, because there were very powerful recommendations made. So it's important for us to keep, the iron in the fire all the time. This is why we're calling for this accountability dialogue, because we're asking for account from both the state as well as from civil society. We have representatives from the House of Traditional Leaders as well coming, to give their perspectives on what they've done. If we don't keep this conversation going, we're not going to see any change happening. Unfortunately for us, the change is very, very slow. It is happening, and it's pockets of change happening, around the country. But what we're not seeing is that significant drop in the rapes, the abductions, the kidnappings, and of course the femicide of women and children. I just want to mention that a lot of the murders related to children are actually domestic violence related. It's revenge killing of children, which is a very, very sad phenomena that we see, not just in South Africa, but that's rising across the world. But our concern is what's happening in our country. And really, this has been a very, very brutal period. And there's something about August month that we're starting to ask ourselves about why there appears to be just prior to it, during August and post-August, seems to be an upsurge of levels of violence towards women and girl children. And that's very, very concerning.
All right, we'll leave it there for tonight. Dr. Lesley Ann Foster.